All hail.
This is a round 3 matchup. This is the final match in a best of 3 between these two runners, so obviously they went 1-1. This being round 3, we'll have weapon stats fixes are on, prices scale up to 300%, enemy stats are to 220%, 4 times experience plus 400, Ice Cave is incentivized, enemy script skills and status attacks are randomized. What does that mean? Well, if you want EXPs that hit you back with a side of thunder, that's how you get it.
So nothing dependable early on here. Gonna Zap is probably our best option, the only AoE.
Well, the good news is you don't need AoE for Garland. The bad news is you don't have AoE for the imps.
Correct.
xIceblue gets some wolves, though.
Oh. First fight wolves. Now, is that a Group 7 or a Group 8 fight? I don't believe that's 1 through 6.
You're over my head on that stuff.
Somebody out there will know.
So with the experience bonuses, you'll often see these runners, like always, getting levels on their first couple of fights.
Harmful is going to be locked to the red mage, so neither racer is going to be able to pick that up.
Ooh, jkoper's got to be missing that AoE spell on that fight.
Early tail.
What can you say about that? It's easier for you when you find that early and don't have to go hunting for it. And a flame shield.
Question of how soon they'll be able to make use of that, or if they decide to. Gotta imagine with fighters they probably will, with a red mage.
Yeah, there's the question of whether or not you do a black belt grind before using the tail. Quadruple X, plenty to handle Garland, and jkoper will be done with the Temple of Fiends. Nice and early.
xIceblue getting some security levels here, I would assume.
Yeah, the levels in the available magic points, although a little less significant right now. But you never know what the level 2 spells will have. You might see Nuke, you might see Fade. Plenty of other stuff, though.
Don't see too many runners doing too much grinding outside of Canaria this early on.
Yeah. Your first couple levels are basically free, so it's often can do that easily enough and be right by that end to refill all your charges before you go up. And then how much you want will probably depend on what's for sale here.
Expensive houses.
Yeah, the heals are nice and cheap, tents are cheap, so it gives you a chance to stock up on those. And the softs actually are cheap, so good chance to grab a couple of those before you wander out into the world.
Yes, indeed. With these cheap tents, very curious to see what the encounter table is going to look like for this seed. It's going to be friendly like what we're seeing here for xIceblue right now. A free run all the way from Canaria to the Temple of Fiends.
Pretty good walk. You'll get the tail now as well.
Bridge of text for jkoper.
And asked in chat what the forced classes are. They are forced to have the Black Belt and Black Mage in tonight's race.
Get our first look at Matoya Cave's treasure chests. See what awaits us there. Maybe an early crown, maybe 10 gold, maybe the Wear Sword.
Flame Shield, by the way, a sneaky good pickup for the fighter who often is under-equipped defensively in early game play.
Certainly a good idea to throw some form of armor on your fighter as soon as possible. Iron armor, chain armor, whatever you can get your hands on. Let him absorb all the damage.
So it's certainly not one of the shortlist items you would pick out wanting, but it's a lot better than getting a poke in the eye.
Those things are. Whole bunch of
jkoper's
gold.
Gonna opt to keep the gold, it looks like. He did pick up a sizable amount there.
xIceblue hitting the bridge around 5 minutes, which on average is a bit of a late time for it, but he did pick up levels in the process.
So appreciate all of you who are pulling the late night with us, or maybe it's not that late if you're on the West Coast, but still, we're running past midnight here on the East. The final match between these two in the best of 3 series, they are, of course, tied 1-1, and jkoper's about to give us a look at the Magic in Provoca.
We got a fade.
Who said that might happen?
I know a guy. Nothing spectacular here. Maybe a saber for the red mage. Probably not. Oh, looks like Confuse got picked up.
It can pay its dividends.
Somebody's already calling this seed free. I wouldn't jump to that conclusion just quite yet.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, I was watching somebody earlier today get Floater and Slab in the same room and complain that he didn't get Crown as well.
I believe I know who that guy is. Let's see what the Pirates have, possibly.
This can be one of those roadblock fights because you have to get through it. You have to do it at this stage of the game. And if they've got something nasty that takes out your party, you have to dodge 9 instances of it. But we won't find out from jkoper's side whether or not they've got anything.
Odds are they don't. We went through about 4 of them. They all just physical attacked.
He'll hand over his ship.
7:20 is a respectable time for a ship pickup.
And very important to check these early shops, even if you're not thinking you're going to get anything, but you want to find out if stuff like pro rings, gold bracelets, and bottles are for sale.
And definitely take notes of them, whether it be a notepad or whether it be in your head.
Never sell short the notepad, Strats.
Nope.
Mine's already ridiculously long with my notes so far, you wouldn't even believe it.
I'm sort of depending on you for that.
Hey, by the way, folks, if you want to see even more Final Fantasy Randomizer action, we have, in, 18 hours. Our next race will be between Tristal and Drumbordist. That'll be over on Speed Gaming at 6 o'clock Eastern later today.
That'll be game 3, so the winner advances in the winner's bracket, the loser goes to Garland's.
And looks like jkoper will head over to the Dwarf Cave. He lays down the save so that if he doesn't like what the dwarves have to offer, he can reset and save the travel back.
That was a great idea. I don't believe we saw anything in the armor shop in Provoca either.
No, it was pretty scarce.
So we might have a boon of spells and equipment in Elfland. So Opal Bracelet, Opal Gauntlet. Opal Bracelet would definitely be something worth keeping, but no.
Alright, so to Elfland they go. And runners going very close to each other right now. jkoper moving a few screens ahead, but that already means that xIceblue has made up time because of that grind he did early.
I believe Ice is doing something with the encounter table here, making it work to his benefit. He also seems to be moving through things a lot faster. Now that's a wealth of black magic for level 3. Fast to temper and a fire 3.
Yeah, almost unfortunate, I would say. Now, while you can do fast and temper between the red mage and black mage, that fire 3 represents the best black magic spell you've got right now, so a little bit of drain on that level.
Until he checks the level 4 spells, at least.
Invis 2 and Wall and Life, that's a pretty stacked white magic shop.
Wall can't be picked up because it's in a no-buy spot for red mages. But the other two, Life and Invis 2, are fantastic pickups.
And Warp in the black magic side, definitely a valuable pickup.
But pretty much everything you need here so far. You've got a Fade, you've got an Elemental, you've got a Warp spell, things you can get through the game with. You can Ice 3 is pretty much the last thing they really make the best benefit from. Maybe they already got Temper, didn't they?
Yeah, just picked it up at level 3.
3. Let's take a look-see at how bad the Marsh Cave is for these guys.
You get to do this in round 3. You've always got to just go in with an extra sense of anxiety, because not only is it the Marsh Cave in its usual unfortunate self, but when you shuffle scripts as well, you get arachnids that have gaze. And other fun things.
The gaze isn't really that bad compared to what they can roll. Get Thunder a lot. Blaze and things like that. We have an early Crown. So
right.
will Crown lock up the TNT, or?
TNT could be behind one of the crown doors, because all the crown doors are accessible by the ship.
With the one exception at the bottom of the Sea Shrine.
This is true. Ice 2 for the gargoyles. They're always just special. Always hold my breath when I see them.
And Tristal is calling the Lazy Dwarf TNT. Certainly wouldn't be surprised to see that.
So he definitely wants to get out of here with the crown and save it on the overworld. Was he not able to get charges of warp yet, or was there something else on there that he wants to save the charges for?
I believe warp was a level 4, so he may not have a high enough level.
Okay. And the other thing may be if he's only got... I think he does have no charges of that yet. Ooh, there's Crack.
Crack. Remember, kids, crack kills.
This is why the Marsh Cave with script shuffle on is an extra kind of interesting.
That it is. Let's see if jkoper has some better luck.
Now you could leave Marsh Cave with the crown. Of course, you have to get out of here with it first.
That's been the trick.
There is an argument to be made for that. However, you're sure risking another major item being at the bottom of Marsh Cave if you don't. If you don't full clear.
Well, you're bypassing 6 chests for what I believe is, 16. Correct me if I'm wrong.
jkoper now finds Crack.
24 with the dwarf cave. So, a sizable number of chests. 4 times as many than you'd get by going to the bottom of Marsh, and probably a lot less risky to get to.
And the second time jkoper sees that fight, he nopes right away. Looks like xIceblue is going to try his luck and see if he can just get through it somehow. Fire 3, though, goes off before Crack does, so... That'll help.
Sometimes the best defense is a good offensive AoE.
Ooh, got to get through a second one.
Without fire.
Does have fade going off, I think.
Got rid of one of them. There we go.
Okay, Fire 3 gets off. If he gets through this, I think he can get out of the cave.
There, now that xIceblue has level 8, if he can get outside, and if he has a house in his possession, which I don't think he does, he could charge a warp spell, because now he has access to his level 4.
Yeah. I'm not a fan of the idea of leaving. He did have 2 houses.
He did. I didn't catch that.
I'm not usually a fan of failing to full clear marsh if I have to go here.
No.
But this is one of those where you could talk me into it, especially going to get the Mystic Key first, and then if I come back, I am full clearing. I'm not leaving those key-locked chests at the end.
A couple of people considering this a gamble.
Yeah, well, honestly, I'd say either play is a gamble.
Really, at this point, this early on. There's enough fatal enemies in here. However, he's getting a chance to at least get information on what chests are down here.
And ultimately, it comes down to what you're comfortable with as a runner. Because whatever anyone else would do in that situation, you have to do what works for you, what's going to keep you running smooth for the rest of the way. But so far, not much down here, but it only takes that one treasure chest to change everything.
That's right. Either runner feels that they are inferior to the other or behind in some way, they can make that the play to get it back ahead. But, I guess I don't personally consider this as big of a gamble as others do. It's not a very long process. You're looking at 3 or 4 minutes.
So, meanwhile, it gives us a great route divergence because jkoper took the crown and left.
There's that brutal ice, too.
Yeah, when you have no armor and no magic defense and no levels, it's just no fun.
Nope. And nothing special in the bottom of the marsh. But now he knows that.
And he will make his way up to see Astos, King of the Bats. I say that because that's all you find around here, just bats.
And yet jkoper fearlessly marched right in there, despite the presence of bats.
So let's take a moment and talk about the places they'll have to go with the Mystic Key. Obviously, Elfland will be the first stop because you're right there. Then you have your choice between going over to Marsh and Astos Castle, or sail north, go to Corneria, Temple of Fiends, and the Dwarf Cave. So 5 locations to go through.
And most people will forego the Marsh Cave chests, at least until after you've checked all the other ones. And it's an absolute necessity to go there. I think second least likely to be checked would be those Temple of Fiends lock chests. But we'll see what they need to check.
I haven't been in the position to make that play very often, but when I have, my preferred strategy was leave the save in Corneria, run up to the temple while I'm in the area because it's not going to be closer. Check it, reset if I don't like it.
Sure. I think with me, a lot of it has to do with the encounter table. If I can make a long run at the beginning of a power cycle, I'll do that. I'll save right outside, but in other circumstances, I'll do what you described and save outside Canaria. And we have a floater.
Early floater, and they still have to find the TNT, so we're going to have 3 of our major items very early.
It's going to be a slab check. Slab will be go mode. And one of the biggest chest boons in the game, the Mirage Tower and Sky Cave, are going to be ruled out for where the slab will be located because you need it to get in.
jkoper about to give us a look at the Corneria treasury. Now he finds the opal bracelet. I just called it slightly early. And that'll be just about all of note there. Although the silver axe, not sure what weapon he has on his fighter. That might actually be better.
The accuracy isn't all that fantastic on an axe, so probably would not be as beneficial. It hits harder. It's really more of a judgment call. He's choosing to use it.
He puts down the save, and looks like he is going to take the temple strats.
Here we are.
3 treasure chests up here, protected by the Mystic Key.
And I specifically remember jkoper himself saying he doesn't like to make this walk if he doesn't have to. So we're seeing him in a position where he does have to.
Gargoyles guard this treasure chest, and they've got that ice too. And that might mean it's a while before we find out what's in those treasure chests, if we ever do. Yeah, jkoper's not going to do it again.
No. Gotta guess the TNT is Lazy Dwarves. And if it's not, we're going back to Marsh.
I would assume you'd go Astos Castle first. You've got just the 3 there that are easy enough to access and find out if it's there. If it is, you don't have to do the bottom of Marsh. If it's not, well, at least you know you don't have to come back.
Well, we know for a fact that it's not in the Northwest Castle. It's not in Astos' castle.
How would we know that?
Did we not just see one of the runners go there? I believe.
No, jkoper went to Fiends, which is where xIceblue is attempting to go right now, and this is only the second place, not counting the castles, that we're seeing the locked treasure chests.
I may just be losing my mind then, forgive me.
A few miscellaneous good things here for jkoper. He got the defense sword, I believe the heal staff as well, but no TNT. xIceblue's going to see if he can get by these gargoyles now. Well, I'm being told xIceblue did go to Astos.
That's...
Okay. It would have been closer, so it makes sense.
I remembered seeing a 10 gold chest. I think that's where we saw it.
Light axe and a whole bunch of money.
And he forgoes the money.
I honestly wouldn't mind the light axe. First of all, it'd be a better weapon for his fighter, I believe, and also that free harm too. So it's at the bottom of Marsh.
We have it in Marsh Cave. So if you had keylocked Marsh in the pool, congratulations, you just won the prize.
You know, someone did, because I saw it pass by in chat. Someone said that if it's down there, Fiesel needs to make all the seeds from now on.
Yeah, it's certainly a good suggestion. Well, it looks like Brat just won.
Brat, you get 100 bonus points for that.
You win one of these. I think xIceblue has warp. At the level he's at, might have been a better idea to make use of that to get out of the dwarf cave than walking all the way back out. Now we're seeing jkoper make the trek back down, back into the marsh cave. Now he did not check those chests, if I remember correctly. He did not check the other 6. non-key lock chests. So he's going to have to go through all 9 of them.
Yeah, he took the crown up to Aztos while xIceblue was digging out the bottom of Marsh Cave and not finding much of anything.
So it stands to reason this will go a little bit quicker for xIceblue, but he still has to make the trip.
Now, Ice Cave, not Ice Cave. Marsh Cave is one of these examples of these mirrored treasure chests. So you could get this item from one of 2 different chests, but as soon as you open one, the other one's going to be empty. So this affects the route that you're seeing if you're not used to runners doing this.
And it's something that I learned while I was playing the randomizer. After many, many, many years of playing the vanilla version of this game, I did not know about the linked chests.
Yeah, even when I found out about it, I had a hard time finding out which ones they were till I finally found a map that just spelled it out.
And I still haven't seen such a map. I've just learned it by watching other people playing.
I've only seen one site had it, and I just went ahead and saved it, so now I don't even remember which site had it anymore. Or I'd give them credit, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just noticed on jkoper's menu screen, he is quite under-leveled at this point. He's still levels 4 and 5. Whereas xIceblue, I believe, is at 8 or 9. So I think that's going to pay off once they hit the volcano, or once they go to Crescent Lake and decide where to go from there.
Well, let's not rule out it paying off here, because he's going to be a little bit more durable through these ice 2s from the gargoyles. A little bit better chance to get away from fights when he wants to run. And he has the warp charge available that jkoper does not.
Correct.
So a few advantages to those extra levels.
And Brock said it was the Mike's RPG Center site, but I don't believe that one has the indications of which chests are linked or not. It does tell you it tells you what the contents of chests are, but it doesn't say when they're linked, from what I recall.
Well, I'll tell you what, if anybody is listening to us talk about this and is wondering, by all means join us in the Discord and you will get much better explanations than we can come up with on the fly here.
That's right. And I think we're about to see
this has to be it, doesn't it? For xIceblue?
This is the second to last chest. There's one in the corner in a smaller room. And cobras have poison. That's a fun thing to figure out when you're one chest away. There it is.
He reset.
That's...
because he didn't have warp to get out. He would have had to have walked out with just the fighter. But
Not
he found out
idea.
which chest he wants to go to.
Not a bad strat. And Broster clarified, they're not labeled which ones are paired, but it has which ones not to do.
Well, there you go. So xIceblue is now going to make a beeline to that one treasure chest and get his TNT.
Yeah.
These wizards never fun, but hey, when you've got Zap or Fade, that helps make things a little bit better.
And there we are.
28 minutes to get TNT.
Yep. But on the plus side, they've got everything else they need, minus the slab. So
jkoper gets hit with the poison right in front of the treasure chest he needed, if I'm not mistaken.
I believe this is where, as you said earlier, the leveling that xIceblue did paid off.
Yeah, just a little bit more durable. Although jkoper was still, I think, in the exploration phase. xIceblue got there, had his party wrecked pretty good as well. But
he's still checking out this last chest.
Well, I mean, what if it's the slab?
That would be something.
You're already here.
That's right. Okay, it's a cap. Almost as good as the slab, but not quite.
Just a little bit different.
A little bit different.
Well, there goes his warp. Or does the black mage have? Does the red mage have it? Red mage does not have it.
Red mage has a life spell, I believe. Unless I've misread the spells. Nope. I misread.
Well, congrats. You got your TNT, now you got to get out with it.
Mm-hmm. Now the monsters in here are going to play kill the guy with the ball, chase down xIceblue, keep him from getting out of the marsh cave alive. And somebody pointed out that he is 0 for 0 on life charges, so I appreciate that.
And poor Edge running the tracker for us has to keep up with this, whether they have TNT or not.
Clicker fingers is going to get sore. Poor guy's just getting over a cold.
It's
like playing cookie clicker.
Another level now for xIceblue.
See if he gets to keep it.
jkoper now finds the TNT for the first time. And he got afflicted by stone, but he did pick up a few soft potions in Corneria. Exactly why it's a good idea to do that.
I don't think he's got the levels for a warp here. I think he's probably 2 levels away from having a charge of it.
And he still wants to check the other treasure chests to make sure he's not leaving anything behind.
Mm-hmm. Some might call that greedy, I'm just calling that resourceful. Don't do it to him. Oh no.
Wiped by the ice too.
Oh no.
This time xIceblue knows that there's nothing in that last treasure chest, so he'll just go for the TNT this time and should have a much higher chance of actually getting out of here with it.
So you're one of these runners in the midst of this seed, and you're at 31.5 minutes, and you still don't have the TNT safely out of Marsh Cave. How far behind do you believe you are?
When I'm looking at that ugly ice tube from the gargoyles and poison from the cobras, I would have no clue where I am. I would not take for granted I'm ahead. I would not take for granted I'm behind.
That's fair.
Because I know this, my opponent has to face the exact same monsters that I do. I missed out on the flame sword, so that is a good pickup actually.
Somebody commenting on jkoper putting the cap on. He's a guy that is not known for showing love for the memes, but so I guess he really values that extra 1% or that 1 point of absorb. It's a brewer's cap, says Edge. That's right.
You know, we're being asked, well, the question is being asked about the X spell, and I don't know exactly what went into the game programmer's logic at the time, but I remember a lot of cartoons at the time. They would do the double X's over the eyes to represent death, so I think it's supposed to be a double death representation.
That or it's a curse word.
Well, yeah, but Nintendo censorship, they were going to come up with something.
That's it. jkoper making his mad dash out of the marsh cave and stopped at the gates by the shadows, probably safe enough. He safely gets out
of there.
He's out with his TNT and his brewer's cap.
And is he going to Astos' castle for the first time?
This would be his first time, I believe.
That's an interesting routing choice to me, then, that you would go to Marsh before that. Or, yeah, he already knew that Ice 2 was there. He didn't know that Poison was there.
What do you know? He actually checked Marsh before Astos. I can't say I understand why, but it was right.
Yeah. Well, every route you do, you have to be comfortable with it, so... There were more treasure chests down in Marsh, so that plays into it.
Max was probably making a very good point. He had not checked the chest at the bottom yet. That means rather than it being 3 chests versus 3, it was actually about 9 versus 3. So the density was there.
Fair enough. So, we're about to finally see more of the world.
Hey! Finally leaving the center lake area at the 35-minute mark, starting to look like one of my games.
Question in chat, how many forced classes? There were 2 forced. They were the Black Belt and the Black Mage. Actually, we're right about the time where I like to run through a recap, so this is a good spot to do it in. This is a round 3 matchup between these 2 runners. They're tied 1-1 in this best of 3 series. They had forced party members of Black Belt and Black Mage. In this round, the weapon stats fixes are on. Prices are scaled up to 300%. Enemy stats are scaled up to 220%. Experience is times 4 plus 400. The Ice Cave is incentivized. Now, that doesn't mean that it is going to be the plot progression item, which is the slab, the only one we're missing, but it could be another major item like a ribbon, etc. We have shuffled scripts, spells, and status attacks among enemies, which is why we saw cobras having poison. Temple of Fiends yielded our runners the tail. In the Dwarf Cave, they found an opal bracelet and the katana. Marsh Cave had the TNT in one of the locked chests. It also had the crown. And Elfland actually had the floaters, so we have 2 of our major 3 items already. And it looks like xIceblue gonna do the Melman skip.
Skipping Melman. You don't care about no level 5 spells, or if they have gold bracelets or pro rings, apparently.
Or the bottle, because we do still have to locate that. Now, it's never a big stretch to find it, because there's only so many places that can have it, but until you know where it is, it's still that mysterious somewhere.
You're not going to find a bottle in Melman, because there's no item shop.
Fair enough. But you will find Nuke in the Black Magic shop, so there's that.
And Heal 3, but that's not learnable.
Nor is the Heal 2, they're just there to taunt you. So xIceblue is about to give us our first look at what's available here in Crescent Lake. And this is the other shop selling the softs. There are
and
2
gold
of them.
Bracelets on the higher end of price, 53,000. Exit unlearnable. Lit 2. About it.
So if I'm not mistaken, we have no AoE ice spell at this point. Is that correct?
That's how I recall it, but they have Fade.
Yeah.
Almost as good.
Indeed, but it makes me wonder if we might see one of these 2 runners prefer going to ice over volcano.
Mm-hmm.
Volcano
Probably be a smarter play.
Required, but not incentivized. Someone making a good point that Ice 3 was at level 5. That is correct, but Nuke was available as well.
Right.
Oh, that is true. xIceblue has the floaters, so that'll be something to pick up, and it looks like he's going to now.
There we are.
As for why he was fighting those, I'm assuming he wanted a little more gold or levels.
Tristle, that's a 2-part question. Why is he grinding in the first place? And of all things to grind, why is he grinding Karax? There's so many better things that he could be fighting in the Crescent Lake area. Most notably, Peds. But even that troll bullfight's going to be worth more.
With Squint. And lightning too from the bulls. This is not a fun fight at all.
Well,
I
we
wondered
still
if
have
someone would
Keats.
go ice, and xIceblue is.
xIceblue is going to, yeah. Tristal noticed this as well. He's going to Ice Cave before he goes to the Cardi Islands, pick up the free chests, or to the Titan's Tunnel to pick up those 4.
Yeah, you could get to a bunch of free treasure chests now, but you do know Ice Cave is incentivized. You have warp, so you're able to cut off somewhere around 1/3 of the dungeon.
You might just want to see what the incentivized chest is, because if that's slab, puts him in go mode immediately. And if not, he has the option of completing the Ice Cave or resetting out, going about his day.
And with incentivized, it's pretty well gonna be something that's useful to him, because kind of the most restrictive item would be the adamant, but
Ruby,
he does
Ruby
have...
the only thing that he doesn't want. And it's the adamant.
Okay, but he does have a fighter and tail, so adamant is still a useful pickup.
Looks like he might be here to grind that black belt up. Or his whole party. I guess we'll find out.
Test the waters, find out what it has first.
Tristal said he would reset here. But if he's got the dual purpose of grinding and checking the incentivized chest, a reset may not be the best play.
Yeah, no, you might find Moss Immune, and you might find Vorpal, but so far you haven't. So do you want the defense sword or Excalibur? That's a pretty compelling argument.
Mm-hmm. Could have also grabbed a ribbon, theoretically.
Well, and there is more treasure in this ice cave, so it's not to be taken for granted that we know everything. And a nice route divergence is jkoper is going to go to the islands. In fact, he's going to turn in the tail right away.
Doing it early is going to forego all of that magic defense on the black belt so that he can get his gear equipped on his fighter. Soon to be knight. Might also be for the sake of getting the fighter some extra level 1 through 3 spells sooner than later.
Yeah, I'm not sure how the fighter draws on the magic table once you do the class change, but
I can tell you. There's a slab! jkoper is in go mode.
Now this isn't terrible news for xIceblue because we know he's probably going to come here as soon as he's done in the ice cave.
Mm-hmm. That'll be his next move. To answer your earlier question, the charges for a knight or a ninja begin as early as level 15, and you get an extra charge every other level, so every odd level, up to 4 full charges. So if you class up at level 14, level 15 will give a spell charge in the first 3 or 4 levels for that character until they get 4.
Which at this point is obviously going to mean he'll have 4 going into Temple of Fiends, but I'm also curious what spells are actually going to be available to him.
Well, I don't recall what order the spells were in the shops, but there's a chart that shows which spells are available for the characters.
Yeah. As somebody who doesn't have that chart memorized, though, when I'm in that situation, just check. It takes half a second.
Exactly right.
And there's no reason you wouldn't check to see if your knight could learn Fade.
No, absolutely. No, the knight should be able to learn Fade with no problem. So this might have been a really smart play.
Now,
4 Fade charges. I mean, he's probably going to be doing damage with his Excalibur once he gets out of it, but
yeah.
it's still a good idea as a
No,
backup plan.
this means jkoper will not go to Ice Cave.
Don't believe so.
Almost certainly will not go to Ice Cave. I can't say that 100%, but if you're in go mode, you're probably not going to optional dungeons.
So the knight can learn the first, third, and fourth spells in level 1, everything in level 2, so Fade is absolutely a go, and you can learn the first and third spell in level 3 in Elfland.
Bottle was in its vanilla location in the Oasis.
What do you know?
Maybe the trickiest spot it could be, because you have to remember it could still be in that vanilla place. It is still a viable shop, so sometimes it's worth checking out. Pro rings and silver bracelets here.
Not bad.
jkoper.
Pro rings are absolutely worth a pickup if he's got the money to spend.
Now, he hasn't done any kind of leveling yet, so he is still hurting a bit for money.
In that respect, xIceblue is going to be way ahead, provided he doesn't wipe after doing this grind. And I don't want to commentate or curse him here, but many runs are lost to that.
Yeah, if he's keeping all 4 people alive, though, I don't imagine he's going to go terribly high with this. What would you think? Maybe the 20 range?
Somewhere between 18 and 21 would be my guess. Old enough to vote or old enough to drink. It's going to be one of those.
And 21 would be significant for the black belt, correct?
Yes, sir. 6th hit. At that point, you can decide whether that's high enough for the black belt, grind it up solo later somewhere else. But the next important level spike for him would be the fighter hitting 24, where that will get his 5th hit, I believe, with Mazamune or Excalibur.
Well, based on what we've seen from jkoper, I'm wondering if we won't see him go to the Sea Shrine next, and it looks like we will not. He did go ahead and get the Oxyale, but it looks like, probably out of level concerns in part, he's going to dive into the volcano first.
Not a bad idea.
Introper joins us here in the chat. Thanks for coming in tonight, Introper. Always glad to have you around. And you missed jkoper getting into go mode.
Mm-hmm. He's in go mode at well, he probably hit it around the 40-minute mark, but he's woefully underleveled.
I'm just thinking, not that anybody has tracked this, but that might be the lowest level go mode we've seen for the tournament.
Can't recall one lower. He picked up the Bane Sword, by the way.
Sneaky good pickup, in my opinion.
Love the Bane Sword. There are 2 fiends you can kill with that. I make a point to try every single time. That was being Kraken and Tiamat 1. If you want to kill those Temple of Fiends Revisited fiends with that Bane Sword, you need to be incredibly, incredibly lucky.
I was bailed out by Bane against Kraken 1 earlier today, actually. Tristal, meanwhile, made a great point that jkoper's gear is sorely lacking with no ribbons, and he's also lacking on the weapon department as well, and armor, so he will still be checking some treasure chests, but I think what we'll see out of him is exactly this kind of play, where he won't go for the out-of-the-way treasure chests, but he'll go for clusters that could potentially yield a lot of rewards.
His best bet at this point might be making some quick dives into Mirage Tower, picking up the first and second floor chests, because that's going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of, I think, 18 chests that are pretty easily within reach. Maybe you get a fight with some vampires or some chimeras, but nothing you can't run from.
And it looks like xIceblue is done in the ice cave. Or not. Maybe I'm wrong.
Not quite sure.
Save the progress, save the levels and the adamant. Can't fault him with that when we know how ugly this has been.
Yes.
And his gear is not much better than jkoper's. It's slightly better, but not much.
Yeah, we're discussing the finer points of soft go mode versus real go mode. And yeah, he's in hypothetical go mode. jkoper is. He's not ready to go kill all 4 fiends and make a Topher run. nowhere near that.
I don't know if we need a technical distinction between the two, but
No, probably not.
What we're talking about is he has the required items.
Yeah, he's free to move about the country.
He's dropped his red mage now. Are we going to see a solo black belt grind?
Gotta believe it.
Well, if so, you could use these ice patches to shave some good life off. A good amount of life off, that is.
Is he checking chests that he hasn't checked yet?
Yes, he ducked out and saved, having checked very little, actually. jkoper finds the white shirt in the volcano.
Beautiful find. That's one of the best AoE items you can have.
So yeah, xIceblue, knowing how many things have been nasty and the potential for further nastiness, he ducked out, he saved, so he's got his base levels and his adamant saved. And now, might possibly be seeing him go back to grind.
We'll find out. Extra pro ring.
Apparently we did pick up the Vorpal sword, and some people are upset that we didn't make note of that.
Oh yeah, we have some true believers here. I'm admittedly not one of them, but a lot of people extol the virtues of the Vorpal sword when weapon fixes are on.
And looks like we just got a big host from Speed Gaming, so thank you all of you who are checking us out now from the big channel. We are running the Final Fantasy Randomizer Tournament. This is match 3 between jkoper and xIceblue. It's the decisive match for who advances and who goes to the second chance bracket. Let's go ahead and run through some of what we've seen so far. The treasures are randomized throughout the game, so things aren't in their vanilla places. Enemy stats have been randomized up to 220% of vanilla. It could be lower than vanilla, but up to 220%. They're getting more experience per fight. We have jkoper with all the required items that he needs to complete the game, but he's still lacking on some gear. He'll need a little bit more help to be able to complete it, that's for sure. Also some levels. xIceblue has gone a different route. He is still missing the slab. We found the crown, which is one of our required items back in Marsh Cave. TNT was there as well, but it was locked behind the Mystic Key door. The slab was in the Dragon Islands. The bottle was in the Oasis. And we found the tail all the way back at Temple of Fiends, just for some few of the highlights.
And it looks like jkoper is spamming the Quad X spell to kill the Agama. Now, for those who are unaware, Quad X works on enemies whose HP is 300 or below. So once he found out that the Agama has less than 300 HP, he knew he could spam this spell and get away with it. It's otherwise not very helpful, but in circumstances like this, it can be. Edge point, yeah, you can get a surprising amount of mileage out of this spell, as we are seeing.
Yeah, and he came in here at level 9, and I think he's up to everybody at 13 now, so this is already making a difference for him. So these are two of the favorite grinding spots for runners as they're playing Randomizer with Final Fantasy 1, by the way, it's worth mentioning. The room that jkoper is in has these two spiked tiles, which will automatically have an Agma fight. xIceblue was working on a spike tile that had a guaranteed fight against that eye, and just for quick access, easy enemy, and good amount of experience, those are generally two of the favorite farming places when you need experience for runners of the game.
They're probably the two most popular. Now, the one in the volcano is a little bit safer because you cannot run into a random encounter running back and forth between those two tiles. Whereas with the eye, you have to step off the tile and step back on. Each time you do, it runs up your step counter and you have an increased chance of running into a fight. Sometimes it can be something nasty like images and wraiths that hit hard, or something that's got a nasty AoE spell that can knock your party out mid-grind, which is always fun.
You can see that xIceblue's gold count ran up considerably while he was there. He takes advantage of that to pick up some gold bracelets.
And xIceblue continuing to say, I don't give a damn about no Cardia Islands chests, I'm going down to Volcano.
Well, that's an interesting decision, which we know is going to cost him some time, because still needing that slab, he'll full clear this. Assuming he doesn't run into something really nasty that causes him to go away.
This may benefit him, depending on what he finds, but it's certainly not going to make him happy if he's looking for the slab.
Yeah, at this point, for xIceblue, kind of a best case would be if one of the chests like this one that's out of the way that jkoper is not going to go to has a ribbon in it.
Ribbon or Masmune would be...
jkoper's not able to find one.
It would be a big game changer to get a ribbon or Masmune here. I can't say that I haven't... There's not a lot of seeds where if I get the floater, the first thing I go do is get the rod, check the Titan's Tunnel chests, and then go right to Cardia Islands. Those are free chests, and if you still need a progression item, there's no freer opportunities than those. But there's the ruby, helpful as it is.
Oh, once in a blue moon you will need the ruby to be able to complete, but anytime you have the airship you won't, so... Often the Titan goes hungry.
I'll say it's about maybe 2% of the time you actually need that. It means that the floater will be in the Titan Tunnel chest or on floor 4 of the Earth Cave. Which is very bad luck.
And xIceblue gonna leave? Was he just checking the big treasure chests? No, he's gonna go back in.
I just came out to recharge. Lem the Cat asking a question of our deals being incentivized. Not in round 3, no.
Yeah, Ice Cave was incentivized, and in that treasure chest we found the adamant.
And as of right now, there's really no reason for either runner to go to Ordeals. I have to imagine that xIceblue would go to the Cardia Islands before he goes to Ordeals. There would be really no sense in running through an entire dungeon without checking the free chests first.
Yeah, I was a little surprised he came to Volcano before that, and that may be one of our lead questions for him afterwards, but...
certainly one of mine. And there's that light axe.
It's a fun little thing to have. Though I think the flame sword is a little bit better, but you can move the flame sword to the red mage. I'm not an expert on the weapons table, especially not with fixes.
Well, axes are never great, but it's probably better than what he was using before. What do you have? I think he had a silver axe?
Flame sword.
Oh, he was using a flame sword. And he just equipped the light axe?
He moved the light axe onto the fighter, he moved the flame sword to his red mage. Zeus Gauntlet is here.
Good pickup. I can't say I understand the weapon distribution. I'm sure there's a method to jkoper. He doesn't do a lot of things without thinking about it.
Now, it does have the advantage of spreading out your melee damage a little bit, so you're not as dependent on spells.
For sure.
Red Mage with a flame sword in his hand is perfectly fine for going to the end game as long as you got a little bit better one on your fighter. Now he's going to get to the Agma room where he can high-five jkoper.
There they are.
He's clearly not thinking Agma grind as he skips the first fight.
That's that.
And he waves goodbye, and we'll head over to see the Red Dragon. Which this is going to be our first look at him.
And quite possibly our last.
You know, probably not too likely jkoper goes to that treasure chest. You got the white shirt out of his abbreviated dig through here, which is not a bad reward. I don't really think I've seen anything else he particularly missed. Maybe the Zeus Gauntlet I don't think he got.
No. I don't recall him getting it.
Yeah.
80 damage fade does the job. And he's rewarded with an iron shield, so I'm sure he's pleased with that.
So about to get our first look at Carrie.
So he's got his party at level 23, unless I misread. xIceblue does.
Sounds about right. He went back, he got a little bit more on a couple of them.
Well, choosing to fight the red giant is not something I will typically gamble on. They hit like trucks. And there we are.
And to answer the question in chat, I'm not sure if jkoper did get the Zeus Gauntlet. It's something we'll see the next time he opens up his armor menu, hopefully. What kind of time frame are we looking at with this? Considering the early go mode, I would be surprised if we even got near the 2-hour mark particularly. Unless something's just really unpleasant.
Yeah, we would have to have a really nasty magic stack on one of the fiends in Temple of Fiends Revisited. Like, we'd need like a double nuclear nuke or something to that effect on like Kraken 2, Tiamat 2, which we've seen at a 220% race before, pretty recently at that. But
yeah, we've even seen those kind of gatekeepers on lower percent seeds, so stuff can be even stronger.
Right.
xIceblue will get by Carrie, gets level 24 for the trouble, and we get our first orb restored of the race.
Light that baby up.
A great question asked if the game is sped up. It definitely is with the randomizer. It's under the tab we call conveniences. There's a bunch of them in there. One does speed up the game, one gives you a dash button. There's another option for buy 10 items, and I can't think off the top of my head what the other ones are, but there's all kinds of great stuff.
Weapon
with
fixes.
Randomizer, so it's a good idea to check it out.
So the game itself isn't sped up, but your ability to dash, or basically walk at this speed, is, and you're also able to slow down the speed of the airship with the dash button so that you can make more precise landings. But very few of us make it, take advantage of that, though we should.
Oh, one of the other great conveniences while I'm running through the many benefits that the randomizer gives us is if your inventory is full for either weapons or more commonly armor, we're used to that message that says can't hold anymore in vanilla. And one of the great things they did with the randomizer is tell you what's in the treasure chest you're trying to open. So you can decide if you want to make space for it, or move on. xIceblue has finished in the volcano.
Did he finally go to the Carnias? No.
I believe so.
Oh boy. I hope he's going where. Okay, good.
Yeah.
I was afraid
He's
he was
just
going to
getting
go to
his
where
bearings.
he
He didn't want to open the map.
Oh, I was about to weep. There you go, buddy. Now you're in go mode.
The first one he checks, too.
Yep.
So we've got go mode for xIceblue to go along with that first orb. He'll get the rest of these free chests. He does still have to pick up the bottle. He won't be able to complete the game until he does.
Yep, Tristal says that jkoper is finally taking a lava bath, which means he is going to do his black belt grind.
Okay, it's a strategy we've definitely seen pay its dividends a lot in this tournament.
Can't say I don't like it in this seed. It's a good idea because you don't have there's not a wealth of fantastic magic available to you to spam through to get all the way through Temple of Fiends. Like some more advanced runners might be able to take advantage of the spell set we have right now, but the rest of us, typically a black belt grind's a safer bet to get through that whole gauntlet.
Now, there's no telling at this point whether or not we're going to find Masamune. We know it's not in these chests, but if it's in somewhere easily accessible, we could still see it.
If it's in the vampire chest or one of the 5 quote-unquote freebies in the Sea Shrine, we may see it, but odds are we won't.
xIceblue picks the right spot to find the bottle.
So, question in chat from Max Plus Pi is how big a deal is the lost MDEF for jkoper with the early class change? I guess it depends who you ask. I hate foregoing it. I'm a black belt enthusiast, and I am a champion of high MDEF in lieu of ribbons. So I would say if he gets a ribbon and throws it on that black belt, he's fine. If not, he's probably going to forego somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 40 extra MDEF by class changing early.
For those of you fans of the Titan getting his meal, xIceblue fed in the ruby.
Feed them memes.
And he will come see this lonely hermit who lives out here in the middle of nowhere for no particular good reason, holding on to a rock he will generously give to you as soon as you get there. And looks like xIceblue is going to... Oh, he picked up the Sun Sword. I missed that pickup, but that's a nice one as well.
As did I. I didn't see where the Sun Sword pickup happened.
But that'll be the best sword for his red mage. He did not turn in the adamant for Excalibur, though.
Arguably, if he has Vorpal, that is better than the Sun Sword for the red wizard, because of the crit rate with weapon fixes on. But Sun Sword is definitely the second most serviceable weapon he can have.
Okay, this is pretty bad of me, and I blame it being 1:20 a.m. for this, but apparently the sword was in Titan's Cave.
Ah, I didn't catch it either. Don't feel bad. And it's only 10:20 here on the West Coast.
Yeah, don't rub it in.
I have no excuse for missing that.
So xIceblue is in go mode now, which does help speed up the Earth Cave considerably if you aren't going to divert for some of its chests. jkoper is down to the solo black belt grind now.
It's definitely taken him a while to get into this, to set up the solo black belt grind. And the question is, will it pay off enough given how much time he's invested in it, or is xIceblue already far enough ahead to where he can get through Topher without wiping and beat him?
Now I have not timed the black belt grind on the 4x bonus. I've only timed it on the 5x bonus, so I know I'm always getting the level within 3, and there's enough leeway in there that sometimes it's just 2. I don't know if you end up losing a fight out of that with the 4x instead of the 5. But it'd be a 20% reduction in experience, so I imagine you'd lose it some of the time.
20% plus 100. But you're right. It's not. It's still. You're talking about a difference of maybe a couple minutes tops.
Yeah, we're still talking about how fast these fights go by. He went into that one at 50 flat.
Mm-hmm.
He's out of that one at 55 and a half, we'll call it. So 5.5 seconds for those fights. It does not take you long to get 4 or 5 extra in.
You should really frontline that black belt so you can take advantage of some initiatives in these fights, so there's no chance of Diagama hitting him.
So level 32 is his most likely target for this grind.
Mm-hmm. There's almost no reason to go to 42 on a 200% seed. I've done it, but there's not really a good reason to, aside from forcing enemies to run from you in Earth Cave or other dungeons.
Yeah, they still have the Sea Shrine and Mirage Tower Sky Castle to go, but being in Go mode, those should be pretty quick clears, actually.
Imagine so.
xIceblue gonna go for this one room up here. It's a little out of the way, but it's got a bunch of treasure chests in it.
About 6 or 7 up here. I'm sorry, 5. Thought there were more.
Mage staff is free.
Power Bonk.
Power Gauntlet's a little bit useful.
Next to the Power Staff, which is utterly useless.
Now, here brings up another interesting point when you talk about I guess we've nicknamed it the soft go mode tonight, where they still need equipment, but they have the plot items that they need. That's not necessarily a place jkoper's gonna go. I mean, that's runner's preference. Do you dig out that treasure room, or do you deem it too far out of the way to be worth your time?
It's a hard call. So, that's in chat. Falcon pointing out that what happened last game was jkoper had a little bit more grinding under his belt, and he survived where Ice wiped with a smallish lead. That, picking up that it was attributable mainly to getting hit with back-to-back nuclears and a nuke on Tiamat 2. But it would have been more survivable had he had a larger grind in place on his black belt.
These arachnids staring down xIceblue's party.
Looks like jkoper's going well above and beyond level 32, so wonder what his stop is going to be at. He's going to go to like 36, 37, if he's going to go to 40 or all the way to 42. Or maybe he's waiting to hit a certain hit point total, like 650 or 700 before he leaves. There's 678. Let's see what Lich looks like.
You pointed out that he lost some magic defense by doing the class change when he did. I guess there's a case to be made that going the higher levels is going to give him more magic defense versus sticking at the lower ones, so maybe balance the scale on that a bit.
It's a difference of 10. He dropped from 4 per level down to 1 per level, so he lost a lot of magic defense tailing up as early as he did. This grinding up to 42 for 10 extra, I mean, that's the equivalent of 3 levels without class changing. So it's negligible difference. It may make a difference, but it's still not much.
xIceblue gonna take advantage of being back in Melmon to pick up spells he didn't get before.
Uke and Ice 3.
Not unwelcome sights.
Not at all. And level 5's that cutoff for quasi-spammable. Not a in case of Firebreak glass spell, like a level 7 might be.
Okay, here he comes to Dwarf Cave, so assume now we're going to see the Excalibur come into play.
No doubt.
He moves the defense down to the Black Belt, which offers him the chance to self-cast Ruse by using the sword.
And that is definitely a break the glass tactic. Like if your whole party wipes in the Temple of Fiends, and all you've got left is your Black Belt, and you're up against, say, 5 or 6 waters, your best bet is probably to spam the defense sword 2 or 3 times before you even attack.
He bypassed the armor shop, which, as I recall, was where the pro rings were for sale.
That's correct.
Question in chat: the criteria for finishing. They are just required to beat the final boss, but to beat the final boss, you will have to get all 4 orbs. And you'll have to get at least 3 other major items. They are the slab, the crown, and it's 1:30 in the morning. What am I forgetting?
The floater.
There we go. To do the airship.
So there is no, to answer your question, there's no sequence break that'll get you past having to kill all 4 fiends or collecting those 3 items. It's simply a necessity, or rather, nothing has been found yet. It's always possible.
jkoper is going to check out the red dragon chest. This actually surprises me.
I guess if it's on the way.
The reason it surprises me is the risk factor. Because if something ugly had been there, like Death Touch on the red dragon, then you just... Well, I'm the paranoid sort.
There's nothing wrong with being risk averse, especially after a big grind like that. But usually, if this is me, I haven't already class changed before the grind, and your magic defense typically withstands stuff like that pretty well.
Yeah, you also very commonly would have a ribbon at this point.
Often.
Out of the shuffle. I'd say the vast majority, maybe not the vast majority of the time, but the majority of the time I find I have a ribbon by there, which makes it a little safer.
A level 42 black belt basically is a walking ribbon. With a couple of exceptions, like it's not going to absorb the element spell damage quite as well, but it's going to do a damn good job of keeping you from getting killed one shot or stunned or any of those pain in the butt status attacks.
xIceblue checking for the bat.
And Tripper assuring us that if there was in fact a break, he would break it.
Oh my!
Did jkoper just wipe? I looked away.
Stone touch.
That is terrible. That is terrible, terrible luck.
I said I'm the paranoid sort, so it looks like jkoper's gonna need a minute. He's got to come up with a plan B fast. He's not out of this.
No.
He's still in go mode. You know the treasure's in here. You know your only one you really want is the white shirt, which hopefully you remember where that is.
Oh. Your heart has to break for jkoper. That is a terrible, terrible thing. And I think most of us have been there and had something like that happen.
Maybe even today.
Well,
all right, he's back into it.
We are not seeing a dot forfeit in IRC, so he's cowboying up.
I didn't even realize he's all the way back at level 9s.
Ouch.
So, you play on. You got to go mode with the airship, so you're... You'd have to. Well, you have to worry about what you can control.
And all you can do at this point is soldier on or quit, and he is choosing the former. And you got to commend him for that, because this is a huge setback. Yeah, 20 minutes. Enter, I believe it was about a 20-minute setback, if not more, because he took so long to set up the black belt grind, and then he actually did the grind, and then the wipe. So, yeah, his only hope now is that Temple of Fiends is atrocious and keeps xIceblue from finishing.
And he just lost his black belt and resets. It's just... I think everybody who's ever run this game more than once or twice feels for jkoper after that, because it's just totally out of your hands.
Yeah, say what you will about the black belt grind strat. Some people, swore it off, will never do it, never use it. But, whatever strat you pick, when it goes amiss like this, I mean, it's just RNG. RNG can happen to anybody at any. No matter how airtight, foolproof you think your strats are, this can happen. So, you gotta have mercy here.
Yeah, and I don't even want to speculate on what his play would be from here. I try to put myself in the runner's shoes as best I can, and what gives me the best chance to finish the game. And honestly, it's probably do the black belt grind again. Maybe not to as high a level, but to do something there.
Yeah, Edge said exactly what I was about to. You go to 42 and hope that Topher is absurdly difficult. And I have most definitely taken that strat in the past. And it has paid off. And it hasn't.
In a race situation, if you go through something like that almost certainly has to put you behind, it just makes a lot of sense to... Well,
it's
you already know where you are. So it's not like you're giving something up. You're just giving yourself a chance to win.
Right. Like, if you're going to continue playing this seed and, finishing out your race, you got to just give it the best shot you've got. And the best shot you've got, the best gamble you can take right now is, like we were saying, hope Topher's bad. Cross your fingers and hope that double nuclear nuke comes back on a max evade, cracking her Tiamat. And that's it. Because nothing short of that I can see is going to prevent xIceblue from beating. Somebody said that you could pray for xIceblue to have a Hall of Giants-esque war mech bridge. Even that will subside. Even that will eventually pan out.
Yeah. Now, looking at xIceblue's side, he's got very decent levels. If he went in to Temple of Fiends at these levels, I wouldn't have even batted an eye particularly.
No.
As we're seeing Toxic with the sea snakes, not fun. But he'll get a few more before he goes in there, but nothing is certain. And when you start talking about Fiends rolling 220% stats, evade, absorb, hit points, that can get ugly.
Yes, it can. And ugly is what jkoper's got to hope.
Edge saying in chat, jkoper needs ice to find a bat on the War Mech Bridge.
Yeah, he needs the bats to work for him for a change, not the other way around.
Oh, I can't believe I forgot about this. Somebody calling us back to a race that I think it was even jkoper it happened to. He got stun locked for 6 to 8 minutes, I think.
It was I think it was probably closer to 4 minutes, but yeah, it was jkoper, and it was on the War Mech Bridge. I think it was Sorcerers that stun locked him.
That was an ugly one.
It was like 4.5 minutes or somewhere in that neighborhood. But that was that's where I don't know if I coined the term Cooper luck or not, but it's certainly the kind of thing we've been seeing. Like this here today, the bats in the Earth Cave, we had to reset out, go out and come back down, and then the Warmech stun line.
Okay, so this bears repeating for anyone who may have just joined us. jkoper did a solid 20 minutes plus of grinding his levels here in the volcano. Now, he entered the volcano at level 9, and was it level 42 that he had his black belt on when he was finished that grind?
Mm-hmm. So
I think it was in that vicinity at least.
You do your math on that and figure 42 minus 9 is 33.
At about 3 agmas per level, give or take. So that's a lot of agmas that he killed.
Here's where I'm going with this. The 33 levels he gained, instead of adding, was it 132 magic defense, he added 33 magic defense. That's the difference between him getting stone touched and surviving. By far.
We just had a big pickup for xIceblue. He found our first ribbon in Mirage Tower.
That is huge. Because he doesn't need to be checking chests for anything but ribbon right now. So now that he's got one, the question is he going to keep looking for more? Or is he going to go?
I mean, the next floor is so easy to check a bunch of chests. I gotta imagine he'll do that. And he has the Aegis Shield as well. So.
Aegis Shield's a great pickup. Now, if he finds the Dragon Armor, he's safe against, I think, 5 of the 8 elementals. Just kind of like half a ribbon.
And he will go ahead and save that so he doesn't lose his progress. Yeah, this is true. xIceblue has no idea where he is at this point.
No.
He knows he got to that slab late, though, because he cleared Volcano before he went there. So, he could even potentially think he's behind here.
After that marsh cave, it's safe for anybody to be behind. Because that was a very brutal marsh cave.
And I'm not sure we quite finished this thought of what happened to jkoper, but after those 30-something levels of grinding, he had just his Black Mage alive, who went down to a status attack that was his whole party, so that unfortunately wiped his whole party, and he lost everything. So he restarted at level 9 outside the volcano.
So my guess here is either he goes to 32, so he's got some kind of firepower, or he takes it all the way to 42 and does the prey method, hoping that, Kraken or Tiamat plays Gatekeeper from hell and prevents xIceblue from going by with anything short of a level 42 black belt.
It is technically the black... is he the Black Master?
It's just a master. It's a master.
Just a master? Okay.
Yeah, not a black master. No.
Sorry if I said the wrong thing.
That's definitely not what we would call that.
I don't know. Everything else keeps its first half of its name.
Not the fighter. Fighter becomes a knight.
Okay, fair enough.
Thief becomes a ninja. I'm done picking on you.
Alright, the mages just keep their names.
There we go.
Mage class.
Nope. The only class that can never use magic.
So anyways, xIceblue is about to give us our look at the blue dragon. I don't think he'll check too many chests the rest of the way, having found his ribbon and the Aegis Shield as well.
No reason to at all.
And I wonder if jkoper will even do a solo grind, or if maybe he'll do a 2-party grind, so it's a little bit safer to get out of here.
He might do a full party grind to maybe 24. We don't know till he gets there. Obviously, we're just speculating. I don't think I've ever been in a similar situation. At this point, a tournament's a little bit different from a regular pickup race, where if this happened to me in a regular race, it's a dot forfeit. There's not even a second thought.
Yeah.
But in a tournament, it just pays to keep trying. If it's it's game 3, just keep playing. You never know.
And anything that happens to you can happen to your opponent as well, so...
That's right.
xIceblue is getting through the Sky Castle here.
Having some fun with menuing. Handling himself just fine. So who stone touched? I looked away from the screen when it actually happened. What stone touched jkoper after the grind?
Chad has said it was the Bulls.
The Bulls. Yeah. That's one of my most hated enemies in this game. I straight up hate Bulls, because I want to say a lot more often than not, they get something that's a gigantic pain in the butt. Like, they get a stone touch.
Interestingly, I guessed wrong here on xIceblue. He continues to check these treasure chests, so maybe looking for another ribbon. I don't imagine the Masamune would be a high priority for him right now, although you'd welcome it if you get it, but...
Yeah. With Excalibur, it's really not that important. Now, what level is his black belt at? Because if his black belt's under 30, or his master, if his master's under level 30, the Masamune is actually a marginally better weapon than bare fists. But once you cross level 30, the fists are better. And then 32, it obviously gives you hits 7 and 8. So
level 27 for now.
Yep. I can't say, again, the Masamune's not the top priority. It's not a game changer like it would have been an hour ago. Maybe he doesn't realize he has adamant.
He doesn't know he has adamant. We definitely know that because he got the Excalibur, but I think he's looking for that second ribbon just for the comfort factor. But he would maybe take Dragon Armor.
I was going to say, like, the only two things he could be looking for right now is a ribbon or Dragon. Because Masamune's just... It's icing on the cake, but it's not a game changer at this point. You can throw it on your black wizard, but why? It's not worth spending 20 minutes looking through chests to get. And yes, he did get power box.
Yeah, the power gauntlet was in the Earth Cave. Only item I really noted being worth it out of there.
Shift 4 says maybe he's touchy after the race. I think if that was the case, it would be more about grinding than chest checking. Because really, grinding is what would have saved him, not better equipment. You're talking about nukes and nuclears, and no equipment in the world is going to save you from those.
But he has taken advantage of the incidental fights here. He's gotten some large packs, which pay off at 5,000 experience apiece.
Mm-hmm.
So
when you take pickup fights, there's no better place to do it than here, other than, of course, Temple of Fiends.
Yeah, by comparison, that's roughly half of what jkoper was getting for a solo Agama grind. So that's not bad.
No. And while he's doing this, he's progressing through the game. So the value of grinding versus the value of taking pickup fights, something I've discussed with Artea and brought in some level of detail. And the case is very good for take fights as you get them, AoE everything to death, and run from everything else.
Looks like the 20s for jkoper, and he's going to go for the fight with Carrie. Which suggests to me that he's probably just thinking, I'm going to finish this.
For sure. Yeah. He has to know he's miles xIceblue at this point. which is a correct assessment because he is. And Quaston asks, "What is Quad X?" That is a black magic spell that can kill enemies that have 300 or fewer hit points. It's an insta-kill, single shot. It does not affect more than one enemy. Yeah, and Falcon points out unless it's death resist.
So these runners entered tonight tied in their best of 3 series. Obviously, you see the one gold dragon for each of them. This is the decisive match for who advances. The one who does not will still have a second chance match. We'll talk about that later on.
And now we get to see if jkoper gets the lucky bat on the bridge.
Just to get here to this match, jkoper had to defeat Chitin and Maya to advance. xIceblue had to get through Joey and Broadster.
No slouches on that side. And note also that jkoper has come back from 1 game down in now all 3 of his matches. So he lost his first game in all 3, won the second game in all 3, and until tonight he has won game 3.
No more back for
to repeat
xIceblue.
That, it will take quite the undertaking.
No Warmech for xIceblue. We get our look at Tiamat. Gonna take the safety strats with the Invis 2.
He looks to be in the clear.
jkoper picks up the Sun Sword, which is actually going to be a very nice pickup for him because I don't believe he's ever going to find the Adamant.
Not likely that he will.
And you're always wondering what the fiends might roll, but in this case, xIceblue is going to be able to move along safely.
Yeah, you're generally not going to get anything too taxing from the version 1 fiends, but once you get to the Temple of Fiends Revisited, whole new ball of wax.
Okay. I'm not sure I fully understand this question, but the question if xIceblue would face the same situation as jkoper. No, jkoper faced that situation in the only way you could possibly face it, but xIceblue actually did his level grinding in the Ice Cave, so already had his levels before he went into Volcano, so he couldn't face the same scenario.
Right. Safety strats don't always pay off because of time, but in this case, they did.
xIceblue gonna pick up some spells that are available, like Fade.
And the only advantage of jkoper classing his characters up early is that he's going to get full spell charges on his knight. Which means, 4 fades. If there's any curatives on levels 1 through 3, he can grab those if they're not in forbidden spots.
Yeah, I mean, if we were try and quantify the lead that xIceblue has right now, I mean, I'd start at 20 minutes.
Call
that
NASA,
being
because
asked in
he's
chat.
way... No, it's got to be more than 20.
Yeah, I'd go closer to 30, but I'm just saying at bare minimum.
Yeah, it's 20 if things go horrendously wrong for xIceblue, and miraculously well for jkoper. It's going to be incredibly difficult.
Well, these two runners were in Volcano at the same time, so I think the difference in entering Temple of Fiends will be a pretty good measure of how things would have gone.
We can timestamp those. Now, 4 Fiends Down versus 0 in and of itself is not necessarily telling you the whole story, because at this point, if jkoper had a level 42 black belt, you can easily catch up. You can, like, I've done it. I've done it in races of my own. I've come back from, I think, a 4-1 deficit on orbs to come back and win because I had that black belt just basically tearing everything up. But in this case, it is what it looks like. He's xIceblue is that far ahead. Z-Man trying to maybe inadvertently cursing xIceblue's system, saying it would pretty much need to spontaneously combust at this point. Wouldn't necessarily go that far, but it's one of the few ways.
I'll be interested to see if xIceblue goes for the 2 treasure chests here. It'd just kind of be that last-ditch easy check for the second ribbon.
Mm-hmm.
And he's going to.
Silver Shield and an Iron Gauntlet. No such luck.
Well, not an ideal situation to find yourself in, but you've got to play the hand you were dealt.
The hand he's got's not bad. For a round 3 seed, he's got a more than sufficient party to take on everything. Just needs to make sure he keeps his party alive.
Yeah, and whenever you find yourself in a seed where the equipment hasn't maybe been everything you'd want, xIceblue's is not bad. I don't want to sell it short, but obviously you'd always want 2 ribbons instead of just 1.
As long as you've got it on somebody that can cast life, you're fine.
Being asked what is randomized in the FF1 randomizer, well, to start with, the treasures are randomized, so everything that's in one of the boxes can be moved to a different location, which totally changes the order in which you might do dungeons. You also have enemy stats are randomized. In this round of the flags, in this round of the tournament's flags, enemy stats are up to 220%. So you think about Chaos with 2,000 hit points, and now he could have over 4,000 hit points. And we have seen stones coming out for xIceblue. See
how long he leaves both of them stone touched for, because that might not be a bad strat to preserve some HP. Because the fighter's going to absorb most of that damage anyway. And he's bringing them both back
bring them up. If this were vanilla, if you knew this was going to be vanilla skills, you would keep the stone on them, probably knowing that Lich would open up with a nuke. But
Correct.
He's not guaranteed to have it here.
No. In fact, it's less likely he's going to have it. And one shot.
Fast on the black belt, on the master, does wonderful things. He shows why he is the master. He's the master of punching stuff in the face.
The question of, isn't it possible if Warmech doesn't have nuke, his stuff is randomized too? I think Warmech is tossed in with the Fiends with respect to the spell shuffle.
xIceblue went for one more chest.
Yep.
Here we go against Carry. And meanwhile, jkoper is about to go against Lich.
Mm-hmm. Disrespect Carry's ability to hit hard peril.
Now with that white shirt and the Invis too, xIceblue taking a little bit cautious approach.
I absolutely agree with.
Yeah. It saved me more than once. I was going for the confused strat.
Well, yeah.
See if it even gets that far.
Carry 1 is susceptible to status, so things like confuse or I think sleep. There's some status things that you can attack Carry with that will actually work pretty effectively.
jkoper gets his, well, in a couple steps he'll get his second orb restored. He gets a final boss, though, after Lich. The water floor, home to the most unrunnable encounters for the Temple of Fiends.
The waters, as I live and breathe, here they are. Now, they are weak to ice, not lit. As
Hey,
is...
thanks for sticking up for me, chat. That if anybody has further questions about the randomizer and what it does, join us in the Discord. Don't even worry if you've never played it before, if you're just considering it. Join us in the Discord. We'll answer every question you have, I promise. Even not necessarily me personally, it could be people much smarter than me available to answer your question.
Yes, and Quaston's question asking if there's only one or two, that means only two enemies can have it. That's correct. Right. You're not gonna run to like
question. There's somebody smarter than me.
Edge? Most definitely. It looks like he answered that before I did. So let's see if he gets to... Well, it looks like he is about to take on Kraken 2, so we're going to see... Oh, leaving the black belt in the number 2 slot. That's interesting. He's valuing his fighter knight higher than his black belt. I would probably keep the fighter a little bit higher because he's got a better chance of absorbing damage than the black belt does. So the chances of getting one shots
Opening volley from Kraken was the stop.
pretty benign.
Now Inferno. Not one you see every seed. Looks like Kraken's got some decent absorb.
It's true. Might be time to start spamming some nukes and fades.
And there he goes.
No, I didn't check.
High absorb, but not that high HP. Although he did get an 800-point hit in there, so that was over 1,000.
Did Ice pick up fade on his knight?
I believe he did. He made the extra trip to Provoca for it.
There's the only runnable elemental fight. Airs. Earth's fires and waters are not run. Neither are these worms.
Just have to taunt you before you get to Diamant.
Yep. Question is, do you want these before Tiamat fight or after? You gotta pick one. I think I'd rather get them before and have a free run to Chaos than
so we're looking at roughly a 9-minute run in Temple of Fiends so far here for xIceblue, I think.
That's about right. jkoper is setting out to get his third orb.
An undead group greeting xIceblue.
And let's take a look at what Tiamat 2 has to offer.
We didn't see Nuke out of any of the Fiends so far, so that's very much on the table.
Yeah, we may see a rerun here of that second game between these two. Well, Ice 2 is the opening.
Volley. And low HP, he's down. It's only about 600 hit points there, but you're past Tiamat and to Chaos.
Which means one of two things. Either the dangerous spells were buried deep in the spell lists of the other fiends, and we won't see them, or Chaos is loaded for bear, and he's going to throw the kitchen sink at xIceblue. Let's all find out together.
jkoper, meanwhile, working through the Sea Shrine, has an unrunnable fight.
Double up defense. xIceblue
two
taking
rounds of the Power Gauntlet.
no chances here.
Pretty good hit there from Chaos.
And not a pretty not good one from Ace. Hit 2 hits for 2 damage, so his idea of buffing the absolute crap out of his master is probably going to pay off better than just going and swinging.
Now a Lightning 2. That's a pretty good spell to see. That's not one you're worried about.
We may want to see some spells, some attack spells getting flung his way real soon here.
350 damage on that hit. That's a decent one.
Launching the nukes. There's nuclear. Hello, darkness.
We knew it might be there. We knew it might be there, and it was. Now only 7 damage on that hit.
What kind of curatives is he looking at? He's got to bring somebody back to life.
700 damage from the black belt. If he can get one more hit like that off.
He's just going all out.
I don't even think he had anything. I don't even think he was able to get to heal 3. We never saw Cure 4.
Or Cure 3 would have been fine. Well, 9 stun.
As mild as Chaos could do, that's going to take out his black mage or black wizard. He'll still have a chance with the master here. 500 damage is enough. GG. That is GG. And I imagine xIceblue's heart is racing a bit right now.
Gotta think so. I wonder if we're going to see jkoper continue here, or
I think so. I mean, he can finish this in still a reasonable amount of time.
Sure.
He's definitely aware by now that xIceblue is finished. xIceblue here to join us now. First of all, congratulations to you.
Thank
GG,
you.
buddy. GG.
How fast is your heart going right now?
I was smelling a nuke next. Like,
Yep.
I could smell the nuke after that nuclear, and I was just like, please, God, please.
Yes.
Okay.
That's kind of where I was. That's what I was thinking, and I didn't want to commentary by saying it.
I appreciate that.
Got it.
All right, so let me give you the big news here.
Okay.
jkoper entered Volcano at level 9. He
Okay.
went to the top floor with level 42 black belt. And then there was Stone Touch.
Oh, Jesus. Because there was no ribbons in that seat until, what?
You
You
grabbed
found
it.
the only one we saw.
Yeah, Earth Cave.
That's it.
Mirage.
The one and only was Lord.
Mirage. Earth had
Oh, yeah, it was Mirage
Earth had
Tower.
the power gauntlet.
Yeah.
Which came in handy against that chaos fight. So we had a question about you forewent going to the Cardia Islands in favor of going to Volcano first. We got the airship, and that's inevitably where the slab was. So we decided we were going to ask you that first. What was the thought process there? Was it did it slip your mind to go there, or did you have a better idea in mind for going to Volcano instead?
I wanted to knock out the option of going anywhere towards the south end of the continent. So I knocked out Ice Cave first, found out that I was grindable. I left because I didn't want to wipe an Ice Cave with all those levels. So I left and saved it and then went and rechecked it because Ice Cave has been a terrible experience for me and the last 3 jkoper seeds. So I left with the levels I grinded because I only had 131 HP. I hit him for 130, he didn't die, and then I hit him for 131 and he died. So I left with those levels, came back. The red mage died, so I grinded a little bit more, and then I left. And then I was like, you know what, let me just go take on Volcano real quick. Easy chest to check.
Mm-hmm.
But I was definitely still checking chests that were in the way and then out of the way in Mirage Tower and Sky because I needed a ribbon, and I was looking for a second one.
that's what we were going to ask you next. Is you kept checking chests out first ribbon, and we were hypothesizing: is he looking for dragon armor? Is he looking for ribbon number 2? He's probably not looking for the Mazmune because it's not going to be a game changer anymore. And
No, the Mazmune. I had Excal and I had Sun Sword. I was set for weapons, and I had a level 29 black belt. So
it looks like jkoper is just threw in the towel, which I don't think anybody can blame him for that. He definitely put a valiant effort in trying to come back from calamity after the grind wipe.
He's not doing too bad for wiping after that, long grind.
Not at all. And jkoper's here to join us. jkoper GG to you.
Hey, thanks.
GG, man. I heard what happened, man. That sucks.
Yeah, I mean, there's a risk when you do something like that, and I think people understand those risks. But I hadn't seen anything threatening in the volcano up to that point, so I think that it was a reasonable risk. And like there was lots of crazy stuff outside the volcano, so we were running out of bad things to happen. But I don't know. I don't know if I would have not checked the chest on the left, if I would have made it down to carry it, without hitting those bulls. But the thing that's almost comforting in a way is that I even if I would have had a ribbon, it wouldn't have mattered or anything, So
yeah, with Stone Touch being non-elemental.
Right.
Yeah. The only thing that would have saved you is if you hadn't done an early class change. It's something I had made a point of earlier, is that you were foregoing a lot of the magic defense by doing an early class change with having.
You class changed early?
Yeah, I was there. I was checking the stuff, and I figured I might as well.
Yikes! Yeah, that lowered your magic resist a lot, especially if you grinded.
I was figuring a difference in magic defense, 110 or so.
Yeah, I wasn't completely planning on a solo black belt, and then it just felt like, I didn't have great stuff for the night, and maybe I'll grind up the black belt instead. So.
Sure.
I'll let you know, there was absolutely nothing in the path for the night. The only thing I found was the Aegis Shield on Mirage first floor, and that was it. Everything else
I got
is,
opal armor in the first chest of Sea Shrine.
The left side chest?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't check it. I was running.
Yeah. I figured it was on the way, so whatever.
I grinded on I. I only had 130 HP. So he was easily killable, and I wiped like 5 or 6 times in Marsh Cave. So after that Ice 2 wipe a few times, I went and picked up that flame sword, the TNT, and I dipped.
Yeah. I only wiped a couple times, like once in each direction, I think. I don't remember exactly. It wasn't too bad. I felt like I was doing pretty well.
It was the Ice 2 gargoyles that kept getting me. That was the only thing I had.
Right, yeah. I went to Temple of Fiends Revisited. Or no, I went to Temple of Fiends, to check the lock chests. So I found the Ice 2 there. And then I didn't try again on the lock chest there. I had saved in Canaria. And then I walked up to the Temple of Fiends and tried those chests, and I got Ice 2 to death, and then I gave up on that idea, and I went and did the rest of the stuff.
Wanted to ask,
and went back to Marsh.
Commentators, how did you enjoy the key-locked TNT? I hate every single one of you. Just saying.
I was happy.
Hate every making me. I triple dipped in the Marsh Cave.
Yeah. That was. And jkoper, you were very, very low level when you went to the Marsh Cave.
What? I'm sorry, you're losing.
Level 5 or 6 when you went to the Marsh Cave. So
you're Your mic is
like
really
cutting out.
acting up badly.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
I think he's getting at the levels. You were definitely entering these dungeons a little bit lower levels than xIceblue was. Was it intentional? Was it just following the flow?
No, I don't go into the levels with any sort of plan. I was just I was taking advantage of the empty step encounter, and if I had spells to take care of things or something quickly, then I would. But otherwise, if they're gonna let me run, then I'm gonna run and take levels when I could. So I don't think leveling was a problem too much at all. Was I not ahead of him after Marsh Cave?
It would have
When
been
I-
difficult to say based on the routing at that point. You were pretty close to each other with the TNT.
Okay.
I think actually Ice got the canal first.
Okay.
It was like a 35-minute canal.
Yeah, I made note of that. It was
I
like
forgot to
34 minutes.
Did you check all of the lock chests?
Marsh Cave was the very last 3 chests that I checked.
Okay.
I
So
checked
you did.
everything else.
I was surprised you went to Marsh before you went to the Northwest Castle.
I just forgot it.
Oh, okay.
Well, for me, after I found the crown, I've been played before by this game when I find the crown in Marsh Cave, and TNT was 3 chests later. So I dove back into Marsh Cave to look in those chests and didn't find anything, so I was like, sad face.
Yeah, I can't believe you went back in and you still got to the TNT before I did.
I did a lot
just
of
boggles my mind.
power cycles, and
Yeah,
like-
so did I.
yeah, but like for checking Northwest Castle, like I power cycles saved at Elfland, went and checked those chests, found nothing, reset back, and I was back at Elfland. I did that for pretty much Temple of Fiends, Elfland, and a lot of other like the Keylock stuff.
There was also a slight difference with the warp. You didn't have a charge of it, and xIceblue did.
Yeah, I didn't have any warp, so I walked out. I don't remember if I was keeping anything useful. Maybe I could have made use of a reset like at Dwarf Cave. I don't remember if there was anything good there at all.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Probably
it-
wasn't anything worth
wasn't it-
keeping. I probably should have reset.
I think it was a katana and.
No, I think it was a
something else.
defense sword, wasn't it?
I don't know. I definitely got defense somewhere, but I don't remember where.
Yeah, I can't remember.
Defense
What
is
was-
certainly worth keeping. Katana,
Oh, yeah.
I kept mostly to sell.
Yeah, I was gonna keep the katana and that opal, but I reset and said went down to Elfland, and I was like, I'm gonna go there anyway, and then I'm gonna sell it, and I ended up not even selling them because I didn't need it.
Right.
I don't know. I could have used more money because I had like 2 pro rings and would have liked some gold bracelets too. Probably. I had the opal bracelet and gold. Whatever.
You'll be
Yeah.
happy to know Ice Cave didn't have anything except for the adamant.
You did go to Ice Cave?
Yeah, because
Yeah,
I grinded on I.
Yeah, that's right. You said that. I considered going there, and I was like, no, I think I'm gonna skip it. That's kind of when I decided to just level there, because I knew that I was risking leaving like Mazmune or something in there, and
Yeah.
I thought, man, it could be Mazmune, could be a ribbon. Both of those would be helpful, and maybe there's other stuff in Ice Cave, but no, I was planning on skipping it and checking a few chests along the way for Mazmune or ribbons mostly.
Ice Cave had a lot of squint, gaze, glare,
Yeah.
There was a lot of that everywhere in this seed.
and then Gersharks had trance. I
Yeah,
almost got stun locked by Gersharks, and I was like, man.
did they? I didn't see that happen. I went through the Sea Shrine just now. So.
Yeah.
The nastiness got spread out pretty well throughout the game. It was pretty well distributed garbage.
My hands are shaking when I was on Chaos because he hit me with nuclear, and I was like, the nuke is probably next.
Yeah, well, I would have liked to see what would have happened had I not gotten that dumb hit. So,
Yeah, we were all definitely feeling for you when that happened. I couldn't express enough how terrible
yeah.
we felt, and like a lot of us have had that too, so we all know that feeling.
I think I really thought about quitting, but then I thought, maybe he tried something similar, and then something happened to him like that, and then I got to keep going. Although I think if something would have happened to him, that he would have maybe said something. So whatever. Just move on.
jkoper, we thank you for a great performance you put on in the tournament so far. You still do have the second chance bracket. You'll get either Shy or Czar in that match as I read the brackets. Any
Okay.
thoughts going into that?
I don't know a whole lot about Shy. I look forward to playing Czar because he thinks the game is out to get him, and it's not.
When you're
His
going
seeds
against
are
Czar,
terrible.
always gamble Earth Cave.
I don't gamble Earth Cave. What?
That's where the floater always is, was our place.
RNG.
I think he was like, what, on a 10 streak where floater was in Earth Cave at one point?
Shy. Let's see here. What's Shy's path through the tournament so far?
Shy faced off against.
Lost
see.
0-2 to Green Cleric, and then beat Bufflex. So hasn't really faced anyone to this point. I would consider Czar a favorite there, because Czar has almost more experience playing this than anyone. But I guess you don't know what'll happen. But
Shalasia plays a lot. He's got a lot of runs. So I say that he's got a pretty good chance of upsetting Czar if anyone does. But yeah, if history is to be believed and the rankings are to be believed, then Czar is definitely the favorite in that point. But I certainly wouldn't discount Shalasia from having a really solid chance at pulling off the upset.
xIceblue, for you get to look forward to the winner between Tristal and Drumbordist.
Enjoy.
Man versus God. All right, let's do it.
I'm a little disappointed that I don't get to continue to play like the maximum amount of matches here. Because I was the only person to even play 3 rounds in the second round.
You
make it to the third.
You have played more games than anybody else in the tournament. This was your 9th.
Right.
So you certainly extended it. And depending on how you do against the winner of Shalasia and Zardia, that might continue. And it's not going to get any easier for either of the two of you.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I should have just stuck with whatever. How is Temple of Fiends revisited?
Paper.
Yeah.
Very, very papery. You would have, with a 42 black belt, you would have walked through it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm wondering if my party was just at 25 or whatever, probably still would have been easy. It sounds like
it was
25.
paper to me. I was like 29 or 30. I grinded to about 23 in Ice Cave.
Yeah.
And I took a lot of encounters like to grind on the way.
Yeah.
Like, through Sky and Sea.
I don't remember when you get your 5th hit with the Sun Sword for the Knight, but I know with like Mazmoon it's 24. I think Excalibur might be the same or very close to it.
I think
So,
Excalibur is 27.
It's 27? Okay, I'm mistaken. Then Sun Sword's probably a little bit higher than that still. But even with 4 hits with the Sun Sword, the Knight, if you fast them up and temper them up, you can take on a lot of it.
I will say Chaos was the only thing that was a slightly difficult because he had nuclear that actually hit my Knight for almost 400, and he was extremely beefy with a lot of absorb. Like I had a fasted 2 tempered Excalibur Knight level 29, and I hit him for like 60.
It was
Oh,
definitely a tough chaos.
You did have Excalibur though, so
Yeah,
that's
I had
something.
Excalibur and Sun Sword on the Red Wizard.
Yeah, I got that Sun Sword too. Where was the Sun Sword? It's interesting.
Was it Titan's
Sun
Tunnel?
was in Titan's Cave.
Titans
Oh,
Cave,
yep. Yep. There you go. All right.
Yeah, because we both missed it. Somebody in chat let us know.
Yeah.
That was your best sword. So I mean, it was.
Well,
There was
Sun
only-
and defense are pretty close.
Yeah.
Were you still going to be checking chests on the way if you were to finish?
Yeah, I was gonna check some stuff. I probably would have checked the first 2 floors of Mirage for a ribbon or something.
Yeah, I did as well, because I was looking. There was no ribbons until Mirage first floor.
Okay. Well, 1 ribbon would have been good. You could have put it on the red mage and would have had someone to cast life. So
Yeah, that's
that would have been
exactly what I
something.
did.
Well,
And
as
then
we
one
start
for
to wrap this
chaos.
up, any final thoughts you'd like to share, jkoper?
I don't know. I don't know what you're supposed to do. It's pretty random game, obviously. So just move on. Good luck to xIceblue against Tristal or Jumbordis. Obviously, a pretty tough matchup if you got to face Tristal, and if you face Jumbordis, he's clearly earned it. So, either one should be a good race. Sure.
Yeah, need to put some
All
more
right,
hours.
and
into
thank you,
round 4.
jkoper, for coming in and talking with us after the race.
Yeah, I'm not that kind of person, really. I don't remember ever refusing an interview, so.
I will say, jkoper, I will probably be messaging you for some tips on Z2R, because I'm starting to pick that up.
Okay, sounds like fun. The Z2R is an interesting game because you can always, you can do a lot of making up for luck with skill. So, yeah.
Yeah,
But it's definitely a game that more people should play because there's a lot of moving parts to it and a lot of strategy. And then in the end, it has the same problem that a lot of randomizers do, that you end up hunting down one item and go to every possible place. But whatever.
Yeah, it happened to me at my first seed. Was searching for like an hour for the gloves.
Yep, that sounds right.
Definitely check out jkoper if you like randomizers. He plays several of them very well at that. So, and also of course check out xIceblue. Check these runners out, follow them, and obviously follow Edge, who is doing our tracking tonight. And I don't know if you have any last words for us, Trim, or.
Well, I do want to reiterate thanking Edge, who has been doing this under the weather. He actually called off doing commentary for one of these races because he wasn't feeling quite up for that, but he's still stuck it out and been a tracker for us, and that's a great help. I also want to mention the next race we have scheduled is Tristal versus Jumbordis. That's about 15 hours from now, if you're so inclined. 6 o'clock on Speed Gaming is our next scheduled
Be
match.
sure to tune into that race, because that is going to be a very, very, very awesome race to watch.
And then 2 hours after that, you can watch me get slaughtered by Miot on the same channel on Speed Gaming.
And we do thank Speed Gaming for being a great partner with the tournament and letting us have so many of these races on the channels. It's been a great way to expose the randomizer to a lot of new people, and we're grateful for all of you who tuned in and enjoyed this matchup tonight.
Definitely. Thank you very much to all of you. Thanks to the runners. Thanks to Edge again. Thanks to Fiesel. All hail. And everybody out there, have a great night.
GG.
GG to you all.